Alright, welcome back everybody. A couple weeks ago, I posted a video recapping my journey to pro ball, and I asked people to drop their questions on what they're struggling with on their journey to pro ball. And so we got a handful of questions from a bunch of young baseball players across the world, and in this video, I'm going to break them down and answer them. Now, whether you ask the question personally yourself or you're just looking for some advice, I think this video will benefit you if you're a young baseball player out there, or if you're a parent of a young baseball player. All right, so our first one is from Cy_Young_023. It says, I'm currently committed to a pretty good D3 school and plan to play there during the fall. I'm currently sitting around 86, 87, touching 88. What do you think would be the best path to pro ball? Trying to transfer up to a Power 5 D1 school, or staying at the D3 and trying to get drafted from there? Well, with the NLI the way it is now, and you don't have to sit out when you transfer, on paper your best path would be to have a good freshman or sophomore year and then transfer to a D1 school. I wouldn't say it needs to be a Power 5 though. Just a D1 school where you're going to play, hopefully be a starter, and play against better competition would really just increase your chances. Obviously you're going to want to gain some velocity, which should come since it sounds like you're just in high school. I wouldn't get too caught up with it being specifically a Power 5 D1 school. If it is a Power 5, great. But main thing is going to be getting your velo up, and then, after a year or two, getting to a school that will compete against other really good schools at the D1 level should help you get drafted. Gertz ID says, struggling with gaining weight and getting a good diet. So one thing I would do is download MyFitnessPal. It's an app that helps you track calories. It's kind of annoying at first, but if you're struggling with gaining weight, you're going to need to track your calories because something has to change. It might seem like you're eating a lot, but in reality, you're probably not eating enough. So that helps you be held accountable when you're actually tracking your calories. And then a good diet. I think I'm going to come up with I might come up with like a PDF or something like that, where it's like the baseball player's diet or the athlete's diet. But for now, like basically I would just make sure you're eating a lot of whole foods and stuff that's calorie dense. Milk is an extremely great thing. It's like just drinking a lot of milk will help you get in a lot of extra calories. When you're struggling to eat, drinking calories can help because it's not another meal. It's a lot easier to put those down. Mason Wargill asks, I'm at a JUCO in Illinois, going through a tough time, just tore my labrum. I gained 20 miles an hour over the last year, dropped a sidearm just to get to a college roster after throwing 9 innings in my high school career, and then figure out I get hurt. What advice do you have for me overall in the rehab process in particular? Well, first of all, you're still pretty young, so I wouldn't hit the panic button yet. DAC Performance and Health on Instagram would be a good follow. Basically, the idea of like, when you come back, you have these timelines, right? And they're there for a reason, but at the same time, you want to be aggressive with them. Not to the point of pain, but being more aggressive than what is normally recommended in terms of like movement and just getting range of motion back in the joint and getting blood flow and nutrients to the joint as opposed to just being stagnant. I think that'll help expedite the process. Red light therapy is another good device. An overall change, and this is a good time, like these long injuries like this, like TJ and labrum stuff, ACLs could be clumped in there, are a good time to really like wipe the slate clean and set the foundation again for like who you want to be as a person and an athlete. So getting your lifestyle in order, your sleep schedule, your off-field habits, stuff like that. This is all a great time to work on that. So our next one here is from Chadman 2121. My son is 17, junior in high school, 6'2", 200 pounds, was a strike throwing machine growing up, hurt his shoulder his sophomore year, and just rehabbed all year and DH'd. Now it's his junior year and he's 85 plus but struggles throwing strikes, not sure what happened, but he's so down on himself now. It's hard to watch. When you go through a major injury, you have so much time off from the skill itself, which is in this case is pitching, and the skill is very finite in terms of your feel. It can go away fast if you haven't practiced it, and so it's kind of to be expected. It's rare that someone comes back from like a major injury and just like has the same feel that they had before immediately. It's not that they won't get to that point, but immediately it might be some regression because they're learning how their body moves again. It sounds like he maybe is throwing harder than he was too, which is another thing. So it's timing, learning how your body is moving, with a repaired shoulder and at a faster velocity. So my advice to him would be, don't try to take intent off of it to throw strikes, one, which can be something that can happen. That can almost make it worse when you're trying to place the ball. I'd be trying to get on the mound more often and not at like crazy high intents. I'm talking about like, say you throw on a Monday and you're not supposed to throw again until Thursday or something, maybe touch the mound on Wednesday or maybe touch the mound on Tuesday, depending on how much you threw. And it's almost like you're just playing catch on the mound. Like after you do some catch play, hop on the mound, get the catcher, and just throw some pitches. Because you want to feel comfortable on the mound. A lot of young kids don't feel comfortable on the mound, and that's where you're going to pitch. So it makes more sense to spend some more time there. And that was one thing I struggled with for a while. I'd be really dialed in catch play on flat ground. And then when I'd go to the mound, it would be out of sync. So I would tell him to spend some more time on the mound. Another good point is trying to get external and not worried about, what other people are thinking of me. Just finding something with a hitter that you can tap into that, maybe pisses you off a little bit. Was something that helped me a ton. If you think back to all your best competitive moments, it's like you're really competing against another person and you don't have any internal thoughts. Struggling with being underweight and just not strong enough. So this is going to be a similar answer to the other question about eating. You're going to need to track your calories for a little bit until you have that habit down and you know how much you need to eat to gain weight. Track your weight also, and as you see it going up, that'll give you like the motivation to stay on the plan. And then just train 3 times a week. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Simple, couple compound lifts, couple accessories, but just being consistent and training hard and eating a lot. And a lot, right? Oh, I already eat a lot. No, eating what MyFitnessPal tells you you need to eat based on your activity level to gain weight. That's what I mean by a lot. So those couple things, Jaden. Really like the video. I'm a lefty reclassing 2026, topped 84 on the mound this summer, but I'm 80 now, starting live ABs. Going to use some of these things for sure. Was wondering if you had a daily plyo routine. My plyo routine fluctuates. I would say in your situation right now, hammer the weight room 3 to 4 times a week. Your velocity is going to fluctuate. It sounds like you topped that at 84, so it doesn't sound crazy that you're throwing 80 now. But stay consistent. And you probably have room to get stronger. As far as the daily plyo routine, get with someone that you trust that kind of knows what they're talking about, and you can pick out which plyo ball routine has the best benefit for your mechanics, basically, and things that you need to work on. I can make a more in-depth video on that. I'm a freshman right-handed pitcher JUCO player out of North Carolina. Had a good fall up to 90, 7 miles an hour harder than the year before. Developed some tendonitis in my elbow. Sent me back, lost a few ticks. I was supposed to play a big role as a closer, then kind of lost the role. Some of my problems are early rotation of my throw and early arm. I'm also 165 pounds and not that strong. Okay, so when you gain a lot of velo in a shorter period of time, it's going to be a lot more stress into the joints. So you need to get those tissues prepared. Maybe check out my video on 7 arm care moves that are actually work. And as far as, it sounds like you got to get stronger. You definitely would stand to put on maybe 10-ish pounds, maybe more over a longer time scale. And if you feel like everything's early, I think like timing of intent would be a big thing. So something like you feel you can't throw hard until your front foot lands, or just feeling how patient you can be, or feeling like how long can I keep my arm sitting here? Not the entire time, but a lot of times it's like you haven't even landed and you're already up here. How long can this arm just chill out before it comes into the throw? Would be a couple things I would try out. Hesitation in the batter's box and not utilizing my body to create power. So it sounds like you're like probably second guessing yourself at the plate, which I think one of the best simple things is like the yes, yes, no approach. I know I'm a pitcher, but I hit a couple nukes back in my day.
Oh my God.
And there was a couple stretches where I was really dialed. But yes, yes, no is basically, as the pitcher's in their windup, it's like in my head, okay, this is my pitch. And the whole time it's yes, 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 swing, if it's where I want it. And it's yes, 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 no, if it's a ball that's not in the zone. So basically that kind of takes away any type of hesitation because you're always ready to hit. And then until you're not. Versus like, okay, here we are. All right, now I'm ready to hit, and then you're late. You're late as hell at that point. Fifth year grad student, just turned 24. Lifting the past year and strength numbers, lean mass have been atrocious in comparison to the top throwers. Haven't thrown too much this winter, but will be ramping up this spring shortly for summer ball. Last year was 85, 87. Been lifting 5 times a week for the past 6 months. All compound lifts have increased a lot. Hopefully to see velo increase. At what age would be time to hang it up? Not really trying to get into affiliate baseball. Would be cool to play in an indie league eventually / hit a velo goal. So this is a good question. Sounds like you already know what's holding you back from the velo goal. It's at least like your lowest hanging fruit would be the strength stuff, lean mass stuff. If your lifts have increased a lot, I would say your velo should be likely to follow. I would start throwing like immediately. I'm not a big fan of shutting down and ramping up and ramping down a lot. I feel like that's a tricky slope for most people. As far as like when to hang it up, that's a completely personal question. Unless you really like playing baseball, I wouldn't advise playing indie ball without the hopes of playing affiliate ball because you're just not compensated properly and it's like an absolute grind. Unless you have the money to just do that and like not work for a year just to like play just for fun. But I've heard the conditions are not great with that. I would advise more like if you still want to play baseball and hit a velo goal, playing like a men's league or something with while still working on your career as a young professional. Mid 80s, left-handed pitcher, 160 pounds, going to college next year. Sounds like you're set up in a good spot if you're already throwing mid 80s and you're that skinny. Again, MyFitnessPal. Eat. Don't be lazy. You're not eating enough. Struggling with throwing velocity. I'm 17-year-old junior, 73, 76, 5'9", 190. Same here. Another person has the same question. Sounds like you need to get more power. You're not super skinny for your height, but more power, more quick twitch, incorporating more sprints, less long distance running. Need a little bit more info to fully give you an answer. So you were the other person that I selected for the DM conversation. So shoot me a DM, Jeremy, on Instagram, and we can dive more in depth to your question. Injury and velocity. I'm a late bloomer, redshirted my freshman year since the coach wanted me to focus on mechanics and velo, but the next year I played my velo was mid-70s. Got injured, slap tear in my right shoulder, still recovering. So it really set me back from where I want to be. Currently doing physical therapy in my 3rd week of throwing, but have been improving and leaving it up to God's plan in the future of my career. Yeah, so again, these big injuries are great times to reset the foundation, get your diet in order, get your habits in order, get your sleep schedule in order. Do not be, you're not fragile as much as people will try to tell you that, and it might feel like you are at this moment because you went through a big injury. But the biggest thing is you want to push the limits with how quickly you can come back without being reckless, obviously. It's as simple as that. This is a great time to set your foundation in the weight room and get really strong, especially lower body, as there's a lot of things you can do. Things like safety bar squats when you get cleared for that, or pitch shark, or hack squat, or leg press, things that kind of take your upper body out of the equation, and you don't have any training economy going towards throwing. So it's a good time to hammer the ankle complex, the calf, the lower body, your hips, your thighs, your quads, all those big muscles that will help you throw harder and healthier when you get back. I think some of the biggest struggles for me, 2027, just trusting my stuff. I'm a left-handed pitcher that sits around 82, 83 with decent run. Constantly feel like my stuff is weak in comparison to my teammates because I play in a top prep league in Virginia. So I guess it's just imposter syndrome, but I don't know how to get rid of it. Also transitioning to a PO rule, moving away from fielding, hitting is difficult. I'm not certain what to do. So I definitely resonate to this because I don't throw the hardest right now. I throw about 90 and I'm in pro ball and I've had a lot of success. So it is hard to battle with that, but you really got to own yourself at the end of the day. But this is a really interesting question. So this was my other one that I picked to answer more in-depthly in the DMs. So TKMK, I'll reply to your comment, but if you're watching this, shoot me a DM and we can chop it up a little bit more in depth. From a player at a Pacific Northwest JUCO, amazing video. I connected to what you were saying about going through mid-season rough patches. Could you go into more of that next video? Would love to hear more about the mindset that took you to your next school. Going from Cal Poly to the JUCO was a big jump, but it made sense. I had some intuition about it, and it just felt like it was a more player development friendly environment. So at some points in your career, you're going to be tested and you're going to need to take risks. I feel like everyone comes to these crossroads. And for me, that just seemed like the best option. Looking back on it, it wasn't that crazy. In the moment, sometimes it's hard to see though. But I mean, the mindset that took me to my next school was really like, I'm not getting better here at my current school, and there's people preventing me from getting better on top of that. I'm a 14-year-old throwing 63. I'm decent with the people on my team, but when you look up at the other levels, there's a guy that said he throws 80 as a lefty. I don't even know if I can catch up. Well, one, that guy could be lying unless you've seen that, but I threw like 70 when I was 14, and I was probably a lot bigger than you already. So people are late bloomers. Ben Joyce didn't throw hard, the guy who throws 104 now, until he was older. When you're 14, it's rare that people are throwing like over 75, right? You might see a couple kids on perfect game, but you just got to block that out because it doesn't do any good to look at those people. A lot of those people are going to peak way too early. I mean, we had kids from back in California that were throwing 85 when they were 14, a couple of them. None of them even made it to college, I don't think. Because one, they're not preparing the tissues for that stress, so they get hurt way before. And it's just bad timing. You don't want to peak when you're 14, so don't trip. Currently, I'm committed to a JUCO in Iowa, but feel like I lack hitting velo and exit distance. Love the videos, by the way, and you're an amazing guy and inspiration to many. Go Cubs. From Tater Johnson. Thank you, bro. I mean, I would check your strength and weight numbers, obviously. That's going to be a huge thing. Routines just to improve bat speed and exit velo, and then kind of measuring that as you get stronger and seeing if you're moving in the right direction would be a great step for that. Maybe have a couple BP sessions where you're like literally just like how far can I pull this baseball, like, and just training yourself to really absolutely rip. Obviously, maybe not taking that exact approach into the games, but really training for bat speed and exit velo, and then honing it in once you create a new high level, and then your base may improve as a result. I'm 18, currently an assistant coach for my former high school baseball team, wondering if you could help me set up an art and care routine for my players. Honestly, I think a good routine before throwing is like having them play a game like spike ball in different groups or like two ball, get the mind going, and then just getting their heart rate elevated. At this level in high school, you don't really need super specific things, and depending on the funding that you have, you could invest in maybe some driveline wrist weights or some J bands or a shoulder tube, stuff like that. I think are valuable. But yeah, I mean, I would encourage players to do some type of activity right before stretch, like maybe a little game or something that'll help them get their heart rate going and help them get a little bit more out of catch play. But as far as like specific arm care exercises right before, I would say that's a little unnecessary for high school players at that age. I'm 45 and I've never played baseball. I feel like this is really holding me back. Yeah, you're cooked. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Appreciate y'all watching. Wanted to let you know I created an Amazon storefront, so it basically has all the products that I use as a professional pitcher, things that I would recommend for young high school players, college players, a variety of different things. So I get a commission on those if you buy them through my storefront. So I appreciate that. If you're in the market for, getting weights or recovery gear, stuff like that, check out my storefront. You'll see kind of what I use, what I would recommend to y'all. Aside from that, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're going to have Coach Ferber, big Instagram personality, on a podcast coming up soon. But yeah, any ideas for videos, drop them down below. God bless y'all. Thanks for watching. Peace.